Alright, hello YouTubers, and today I am going to be reviewing this, which is the Dancing Pennywise the Clown NECA figure set. So this is actually quite a large box. It's, I'd say it's slightly smaller than the Bride of Chucky set, but it's nearly the same size as that, so that's just to give you an idea. It's bigger than a standard NECA figure box. You can see that obviously we have the Pennywise the Dancing Clown sort of billboard thing, travelling circus thing, with the It logo on there, and as well as some nice little shots of the figure as well as a bit of information. All nice, well and lovely. And on the bottom here we've got some battery information, and if we open it up, we've got a nice window showing the figure, and as well as him, yes, meme it all you like, him dancing. So yeah, before I get into this review, I'd just like to thank my brother for letting me borrow this for this review. So without further ado, let's get into the figure itself, shall we? Okay, so here we have the figure itself, and yeah, it does look really good. Now, the majority of this figure is just reused from what I would call the standard Pennywise or Ultimate Edition Pennywise from It Chapter 1. So yeah, that's the majority of what this figure is. Basically, the torso piece, the legs, and the neck thrills, and the tops of the shoulders here and the arms, they're all completely just reused from the previous Pennywise figures that are released. And this is also going to be, I believe it's exactly almost the same for the It Chapter 2 standard Pennywise that is available for pre-order at the time of recording this. The only main differences between the body on this Pennywise and the one I reviewed previously is this one has been given a dirtier wash to it, most likely because, you know, he's down in the sewers and that, and the costume has gotten a bit dirty. But other than that, you know, it's the same sculpt and same, pretty much nearly the same paint apps and that as the previous one, just the fact that this one, he's dirtied up a bit. So the main thing we've got to get into is these arms, the spider arms, which we'll just take a look at them individually. So just looking at them, the detail is apparent, it is excellent. And they do feel pretty solid, actually. I was wondering if they'd be really rubbery, and they are slightly at the joint bits here. But to be honest, they do feel pretty solid. Yeah, I was worried that they'd be a bit too rubbery, but they do feel pretty solid. And even the little spike bits do feel pretty solid, but they don't feel brittle, which is the important thing. They're not, you know, the what would be, you know, hairs on a spider's leg. These look more like spikes or claws or whatever that are sticking out. They do feel pretty solid, and you can see obviously the leg end there. It all does look really nice, and even the bit where over here it's sort of morphing from the clown arm into the spider leg. It does look really good, and they're not completely identical to each other. If I just show the other one here, I do like the paint apps on that. They are very well done, they are very sharp, and also the nice thing about them is they are slightly ball jointed, so they can swivel around a bit and move out like this. So if you wanted to, you could have him posed. If I zoom out like that, so if you wanted to, I'm just trying to imagine what it'd be like to have, you know, the whole thing massive spider thing if NECA ever do a one of that. Turning to the head itself, you can see that this thing is very, very nicely detailed. For some reason on my camera, it's making the hair look a much darker orange than it actually is in real life. But yeah, this time we can see that he's got his teeth out. Yeah, so he's about to bite someone. And to be honest, I do really like this head, this biting head. The teeth are done pretty well there. They don't just look like they're just, you know, part of the sculpt. They actually do look like more like actual teeth as a separate piece rather than just painted parts of the sculpt. You can see also on his brow there the little wrinkles that have been painted, again looking all very nice indeed. Turning to the hair itself, the rest of the hair is pretty much the same as previous releases, so not much to say on that. But again, it does look really nice, he does look really good. And the paint apps are pretty sharp as well. And it definitely does look like Bill Skarsgård. And again, I do like the fact that they've got his lazy eye as well. The eyes are slightly, you know, pointing in different directions. So, yeah, that's nice. In terms of the rest of the articulation of the figure itself, well, I'll just quickly go through it. So the head is on the ball joint that it normally is on. The shoulders are also on a ball joint. Arms are double ball jointed. The spider arms, again, I've said the ball joint that allows them to have a bit of movement, mainly back and forth. They don't swivel that much because of the sculpt. There is an ab crunch, which does allow him to move a bit from left and right, though it is hindered by the bottom piece here. The legs have a double knee joint, as well as being able to swivel, and there is also a bit of ankle articulation there to give him a bit more stability. And the legs are able to split as well. So yeah, you can basically put him in pretty much any pose you can think of. But anyway, this is obviously a NECA figure, so let's get on to the accessories, shall we? Alright, starting with some of the basics, we've got some extra arms, which is good because it means that you don't have to display them with these legs. So if you just wanted a more standard looking Pennywise, then you do have the standard arms, which are fists in this case, and this one, they're just regular hands. And the good thing is, if you have the other versions of Pennywise, then you can basically swap them out and basically, you know, have which one you want. For example, we have got the painting head. I can just pop that out. Ooh. So we've got the head of the painting here of the woman in the painting. I think it's Scanley who sees it. And yeah, it does look pretty good. Although the only thing I would say is, I don't know, it might just be the lighting in the film, but I swear that this face should be a bit darker than it is. Although then again, that could just be the lighting in the shot, because whenever you see her, it's never in broad daylight. So yeah, but otherwise it does look really nice. And to be honest, it would make more sense putting it actually on the Ultimate Edition Pennywise rather than that version. So we've also got a mouth open head where you can see all of his teeth and that on the inside, which does look good, and a little yellow LED in there. And you can see here that there is a button on the back. And also this Pennywise doesn't actually have any eyes. Yeah. So the first really we'll see of this, you know, the deadlights really, is at the end of the film where Beverly is restricting to seeing Pennywise's deadlights. So anyway, if I can get this back of the head off. There we are. So you can see here, there's a little battery compartment now. The batteries have been taken out of here and they are actually specialised. They are a button cell battery, which you can't get in Poundland, actually, so it's good that they were included with this. However, they've been taken out, and unfortunately, I didn't bring a screwdriver with me for this, but basically this lights up yellow, and that with the button being pressed. So that is nice to, really nice to have that included, and a really nice little touch, especially with the light up feature. Hooray, hooray. And the final accessory we'll get onto now. Alright, so we finally got onto the final head, where you can see all the hangs of the burnt people are coming out of Pennywise's mouth. And actually, I just noticed, yeah, his eyes are sort of shut with this one as well. And it does feel a bit weightier because of the hands. But yeah, just look at how well they are done. They do are really well done. They have a nice sort of almost burnt texture to them, and they're not just painted in one colour. There's lighter bits and darker bits. It does, you know, really look more like burnt flesh, like it did in the film. So yeah, overall, really nice head. To be honest, most, you know, other than this part of the face, the rest of the head is basically a standard Pennywise head. And as you can see here, and with all of them, they're using the standard sort of peg joint, which is the laser one, which I am glad with. I'm glad they're using that rather than the ball joint one, which is much, much harder to deal with. So I am glad that they're doing with that. But anyway, so it's time for my final thoughts for this Pennywise, the Dancing Clown figure, or deluxe figure set, or whatever the hell you want to call it. What do I think of this one overall? Well, I do really like it. I do really like this set. However, the only thing I'd say about this is, this should not be your only Bill Skarsgård Pennywise if you are going to get one. Basically because, you know, you can't really have him in a standard, you know, looking Pennywise. For one, you know, there's no balloon or anything included at all. And although you do get standard arms, none of the heads are really more of the standardized looking head. I mean, this is basically the most standard looking head in it, and this one obviously he's pulling his teeth out and everything. So if I was to recommend any Pennywise to people, I would say either get the original Ultimate Edition Chapter 1 release, which is the one I previously reviewed, or possibly wait for the It Chapter 2 Ultimate Pennywise that is coming out soon at some point. I can't remember exactly when it's going to be released in the UK, but it is coming out at some point this year. So basically, if you are only going to get one Pennywise, then I'd recommend one of those. But this, as a companion one, you know, it is great, because there is a It Chapter 1 actually official accessory set, which I believe is £30, and at the same, you know, around the same price as a figure. This actually, I think cost my mum, because it was a Christmas present for my brother. I think it cost her, I think about £30, maybe 35 with the postage. So yeah, not bad pricing, because to be honest, this figure, out of all of them, I've seen the most amount of variations in price, because, as I said, you can get all the way as low as, you know, £30-35, and then I've seen it in some places as ridiculous as bloody £90. So yeah, the price range is very broad for this, so if you are wanting this, I would say shop around for it quite a bit for it. But it is, you know, a nice companion one to a Pennywise that you would already have, because obviously all the bits are swappable between the two of them, so you could swap the heads on them and swap the arms on them if you wanted to. So yeah, it's a nice companion piece to it, but I wouldn't say it was a one that, you know, this is the must-have one, this is the default one. It is nice though that it did come with the arms and that, so you're not, you know, if this was your only Pennywise, you're not just stuck with these arms. You do actually have some more neutral, open-palmed, regular arms and hands to use with him. The only thing is that obviously the scannization with the head as well. It's interesting though, he doesn't come with the sort of like frowning head in the film, because when he is actually dancing, he's doing a sort of, it's almost, well, he's looking up at the ceiling almost, and it's almost like a frowny face. Instead, it comes with this head, as mentioned beforehand, which is a bit odd. You would have thought that was included with one of the other Pennywise figures, because there are, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong about this, but I believe there are 4 It Chapter 1 Pennywises. Yes, there are 4 variants of this, and if you were going to pick up a second one, this is most definitely the second one to pick up, because it is the most different out of them, because a couple of them are, you know, nearly identical to each other, to be honest, in some ways. And then there's the It Chapter 2 variant coming out, which is basically, you know, the dirtier look like this one is, but with more standard heads and more standard features. So, but yeah, that's overall my final thoughts on this figure. I do really like it, and I do recommend it, but I don't recommend this being the only Pennywise that you get. If it's the first thing you plan to get more, then fine, go ahead. But if there's only one, then unless you're absolutely die set hard on those spider legs, I would, you know, pass on this one for now. But anyway, that's it for this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.